Christmas University Challenge. Asking the questions, Amal Roger.
Hello and welcome to Christmas University Challenge. Tonight, a Russell Group university faces one of the newer colleges of Cambridge, but the players representing them are some of their notable graduates. At stake is a place in the semi-finals of this short tournament, and at this stage in proceedings, the only way to guarantee they'll go through is to win with a score of 160 or more. Playing on behalf of the University of Southampton tonight are a former cyclist and triathlete who is now a para-rower. Following bronze medals at the 2022 and 2023 World Championships in the PR1 single sculls, he won Paralympic gold in 2024 and set a new Games record along the way. Their second player is a narrative designer, writer and voice director for video games, with credits including FTL Faster Than Light, The Talos Principle and its sequel, and Subnautica. He's currently working on an interactive adaptation of George Orwell's 1984. Their captain was MP for Putney from 2005 to 2019, during which time she served as Transport Secretary, International Development Secretary, Minister for Women and Equalities, and the UK's first comprehensive education secretary. She's now a campaigner for social mobility and the Joint Chancellor of her alma mater. Their final player is a marine biologist, science communicator and environmental activist who was recently nominated as one of the Explorers Club's 50 People Changing the World. As part of his research, he's produced several notable viral videos of marine megafauna, including the first ever footage of a live giant squid in US waters. Let's meet this year's team from Southampton.
My name's Benjamin Pritchard and I graduated with a Maritime Law Masters in 2014.
Hello, my name's Tom Joubert and I graduated with a BA in English and Philosophy in 2007.
And their captain.
I'm Justine Greening. I graduated in 1990 with a BSc in Business Economics and Accounting.
Hi, my name is Nathan Robinson. I graduated with a Masters in Marine Biology in 2009.
Their opponents all studied at Churchill College, Cambridge, and include, firstly, a biologist who leads the clinical biomanufacturing facility at the University of Oxford. She was involved in the manufacturing of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine for COVID-19 and co-authored the best-selling book, Vaxxers, about the race to develop it. On her left is a historian whose numerous accolades include the James Tait Black Prize, the Wolfson History Prize, the Cundall Prize, and a knighthood for services to scholarship. His television series include A History of Christianity and Sex and the Church, a topic to which he's returned in his most recent book, Lower Than the Angels. They're captained by a physicist, oceanographer and award-winning science communicator. She's been a regular science presenter on the BBC for many years and currently co-hosts Radio 4's climate and environment show, Rare Earth. She also gave the 2020 Royal Institution Christmas lectures. Completing the team is the BBC's longest-serving technology presenter and journalist. As the host of the tech show Click, he's travelled the world reporting on everything from giant robots to solar-powered planes and interviewed people ranging from James Cameron to Edward Snowden. Let's hear the team from Churchill College, Cambridge, introduce themselves in the usual way.
I'm Catherine Green and I graduated in 1996 with a BA in Natural Sciences.
I'm Dermot McCulloch and I graduated in 1972 in history and I finished my doctorate in history in 1977. And in 1975, I was team captain for Churchill in University Challenge.
And their captain.
I'm Helen Chersky and I graduated with a Masters of Science in Natural Sciences Physics in 2001 and then with a PhD in 2006.
And I'm Spencer Kelly. I graduated in 1994 with a BA in Computer Science.
Welcome, guys, and welcome back. In the case of Dermot, is it 50 years on? Not bad. OK, fingers on buzzers. Here's your first start of a 10. Good luck. October 2024 saw the 60th anniversary of what pioneering transportation network known in its home country by a name meaning New Trunk Line and noted for its exceptional timekeeping and safety record. The current travelling time between the inaugural destinations, 320 miles apart, is now as low as 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Southampton Greening.
Bullet train.
It is the bullet train, or the Shinkansen, yes. Your bonus is Southampton, 3 questions on cocktails that contain orange liqueur. First, made with orange liqueur along with vodka, cranberry juice and lime, which drink saw a spike in popularity due to its frequent appearances in the television show Sex and the City?
The Manhattan?
The Manhattan.
No, it's the Cosmo, the Cosmopolitan. Second, typically made with cognac, orange liqueur and lemon juice, which cocktail shares its name with a part of a motorcycle designed for a passenger to ride in?
Sidecar?
Sidecar.
Yeah, delicious. And finally, said to have been invented in Mexico and made with tequila, orange liqueur and lime, which cocktail's name is the Spanish word for daisy?
Must be margarita.
Margarita.
It is margarita, yes. Well, let's start the question. Which American composer's early work for film includes music for Robert Altman's The Long Goodbye and Images, Mark Rydell's The Cowboys, the disaster films The Towering Inferno and The Poseidon Adventure, and The Sugarland Express, the latter being his first of around 30 collaborations with Steven Spielberg?
Southampton Robinson.
John Williams.
It is John Williams, yes. Your bonuses then, Southampton, are 3 questions on books published in 1924. 1924 saw the publication of an English translation of what landmark science fiction novel? Its depiction of totalitarianism through the eyes of the spacecraft engineer D503 influenced Orwell's 1984.
I don't know. Sure.
Anything? 30 Leagues Under the Sea.
No, it's Yevgeny Zamyatin's We. Absolutely seminal. The 1924 poetry collection 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair is the work of which South American Nobel laureate?
No idea.
Don't know, sorry.
Pablo Neruda. Later adapted into a Benjamin Britten opera, the novella Billy Budd was published posthumously in 1924. It was written by which US author, also known for an 1851 novel set on the ship Pequod?
I don't know. No. I would guess William Burroughs.
William Burroughs.
No, that was Herman Melville. The book was Moby Dick. Let's start the question. Discovered 50 years ago this year in Hadar, Ethiopia, by the paleoanthropologists Donald Johansen and Tom Gray, the 3.2 million-year-old fossil of an early bipedal hominin of the species Australopithecus afarensis was given what short...
Churchill Chesky.
Lucy.
It is indeed Lucy. 3 bonuses for you, Churchill, on the normal distribution used in probability and statistics. A normal distribution with any mean and standard deviation can be scaled so that it becomes a distribution known as the standard normal distribution. This distribution has a standard deviation of 1 and a mean of what value?
100 or more?
0.
Yes. The sum of the squares of n independent standard normal random variables has a distribution with n degrees of freedom named for what letter of the Greek alphabet?
Is it sigma?
Sigma.
No, it's chi, as in a chi-square distribution. The normal distribution has a distinct curved shape, sometimes known as a Gaussian curve, but more commonly known as a curve named after what object?
Bell.
It is the bell, yes, well done. Let's start the question. This is the picture round now. For your picture starter, you're going to see a diagram representing a mechanical cycle. For 10 points, I need you to give me the name of the unidentified step in the cycle.
Southampton Greening.
Suck.
No, you may not confer, but you can have a bit more time, Churchill, if you want to have a guess, one of you.
Churchill Green.
Compression.
It is compression, yes, well worked out. So for your picture starter, you saw a simplified representation of the 4 strokes of an engine. For your picture bonuses, you'll need to name the components of the engine you just saw. First, the component labelled A and highlighted in red.
That's
Is it a spark plug then?
Spark plug.
Correct. Secondly, the component labelled B and highlighted in red.
the crankshaft.
That shaft would be the long
Turning,
thing.
so it's a crank.
Might be a crank.
Yeah, it could be a
Crank.
No, bad luck. I needed to hear crankshaft. Bad luck. Lastly, the component labelled C and highlighted in red.
That's the piston.
I think that's the piston.
Piston.
Yes, it is the piston. Well done. Now let's start the question now. What English football club has secured the most promotions to the top flight via the playoffs since they began in 1987, having done so 4 times, beating Blackburn Rovers, Sheffield United, West Ham United and Watford in the finals? In August 2024, they began their 12th consecutive season in the Premier League as the only London club in the league whose home ground is
Southampton Greening.
Fulham.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. South of the Thames. You may not confer. Someone can have a guess if you want.
Churchill Green.
Crystal Palace.
It is Crystal Palace. Bonuses then, Churchill, are about a British artist. Which artist directed in his will that his paintings, Dido building Carthage and Sun rising through vapour, always be hung next to two similar works by the earlier landscape painter Claude Lorraine? This painter donated most of his works to the nation upon his death in 1851.
Turner.
It is Turner, well done. The Vaughan bequest was a gift of 38 watercolours by Turner, which are held in which UK museum? To preserve them, the works are only displayed each January.
Take Britain.
No, it's the National Gallery of Scotland. Turner made two paintings of the fire that destroyed which building on the River Thames in 1834, an event that prompted its reconstruction to a neo-Gothic design by Charles Barry?
Houses of Parliament.
It is indeed, or Palace of Westminster. Now let's start the question now. On the 25th December, what country celebrates a national holiday known officially as Qaid-e-Azam Day, which translates as Great Leader Day? It commemorates the birthday of the country's first post-independence Governor-General, sometimes referred to as the father of the nation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Churchill McCulloch.
Pakistan.
Of course it is, yes. Your bonuses then, Churchill, are on winners at the first BAFTA Games Awards, which took place in 2004. Developed by Infinity Ward and published by Activision, which 2003 first-person shooter was named Best Game on any platform? Set in World War II, it features 3 campaigns focusing respectively on British, American and Soviet forces.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Yes. Which specific game in the Legend of Zelda series received the award for Best Adventure Game? Released for the GameCube in 2003, it is noted for its cel-shaded art style, and its title refers to an artefact used in the game to control the weather.
I'm sure my daughter would know, but I don't know.
Control the weather.
The vein of...
The vein of glory.
The vein of... tears.
The Vein of Tears.
Not quite, no. The Wind Waker. With 6 awards, including Best Action Game and Best PlayStation 2 Game, the most decorated game that year was Vice City, the 4th main game in which franchise developed and published by Rockstar?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
It was indeed Grand Theft Auto. Let's start the question. Fingers on buzzers. Franz Liszt's Piano Concerto No. 1 notably features what percussion instrument earlier used by Beethoven and Mozart to represent Turkish Janissary music, when it often included metal rings? Medieval forerunners of this instrument took the form of a stirrup or trapezoid, and its modern name is that of a simple...
Southampton Robinson.
Tambourine.
I'm afraid you lose 5 points. You can hear a bit more of the question, but you may not confer, Churchill. That of a simple, distinctive shape.
Churchill McCulloch.
Triangle.
It is indeed a triangle, yes. 3 questions for you, Churchill, on British politicians. Which future Prime Minister was defeated by the Liberal candidate in the 1923 general election and by the Labour candidate in 1929 for the constituency of Stockton-on-Tees?
Churchill.
Harold Macmillan.
Harold Macmillan.
Yes. Which future Prime Minister was beaten by the Labour candidate for the constituency of Dartford in the general elections of 1950 and 51 before entering the House of Commons for the first time in 1959?
Edward Heath.
Edward Heath.
No, it was Thatcher. It was Thatcher, then known as Margaret Roberts. Who was the Labour candidate in the 1982 Beaconsfield by-election, finishing 3rd, more than 50 percentage points behind the Conservatives' Tim Smith? He entered Parliament for the first time the following year.
Tony Blair.
82. Could be.
1982. Tony Blair.
It was Tony Blair, yeah. Let's start the question. Nothing to do with Christmas, despite its name. The fruit fly protein, Xmas, plays a major role in the export from the nucleus of what specific type of RNA, which carries the genetic information needed to...
Churchill Green.
Exist.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Needed to synthesise proteins. After export to the cytoplasm, these RNA molecules are bound by ribosomes to initiate translation.
Southampton Robinson.
mRNA.
Yes, mRNA or messenger RNA, yes. Your bonuses, Southampton, are 3 questions on holidays in biology. The immunosuppressant drug rapamycin is so named because it was isolated from bacteria found in the soil of which Pacific island, known locally as Rapa Nui? Its English name is derived from the day of its first sighting by a Dutch explorer.
No idea.
Nominate Robinson.
East Island.
Correct. The Halloween genes are a family of genes in the fruit fly Drosophila melanogaster that are major regulators of the process of ecdysis. How is ecdysis more commonly known?
Cell division.
Nominate Robinson.
Cell division.
No, it's molting. So named because of its appearance, the Christmas tree worm is a colourful species that inhabits what type of marine habitat formed by colonies of species in the class Anthozoa?
Hydrothermal vents.
Nominate Robinson.
Hydrothermal vents.
Nathan, I'm so sorry, can't accept that. That's too specific. It was coral reef that we were looking for. Bad luck. Right, music round now. And for your music starter, you're going to hear a piece of classical music. 10 points if you can name the composer. You all look like you're having a good time, but...
Churchill McCulloch.
Haydn.
No, you can hear a bit more Southampton, but we do need an answer soon. And you may not confer, you may not confer.
Southampton Greening.
Mozart.
It is Mozart, yes. It's a sleigh ride from the three German dancers. For your music starter, you heard Mozart's Schlittenfahrt, or sleigh ride, from his three German dancers. For your bonuses, 3 more classical pieces depicting sleigh rides. In each case, I need you to name the composer. First...
Chopin.
That's Tchaikovsky. Secondly, this British composer.
I guess.
Benjamin Britten.
No, that was by Frederick Delius. And lastly...
Home Alone. No, I'm just kidding. Any ideas?
No.
Come on. Give yourselves a chance for high score.
Go Benjamin Britten again.
Benjamin Britten again.
No, that was Prokofiev from his Lieutenant Quiche. Let's start the question. Its title taken from a line in O Little Town of Bethlehem, While Mortals Sleep is a short story by which US author who died in 2007. In one of his novels, the shell-shocked soldier Billy Pilgrim becomes unstuck in time on Christmas.
Southampton Joubert.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Well done, it is indeed, yes. Your bonuses, Southampton, are on a musical that marks its 80th anniversary in 2025. The second collaboration between Rodgers and Hammerstein. What musical concerns the ill-fated relationship between Billy Bigelow and Julie Jordan in a town in coastal Maine?
No idea.
I don't have any. No. I have nothing.
Blood Brothers.
No, it's Carousel. The musical's New England setting is in contrast to that of its source material, the play Lilium by Ferenc Molnar. Like much of Molnar's work, this play is set in which European capital city?
Berlin. Vienna.
Berlin.
No, it's Budapest. Which song is first sung as a solo to comfort Julie after Billy's death during the failed robbery and becomes the final chorus? It has since become particularly prominent in the UK in sporting contexts.
You Will Never Walk Alone.
No, I think
Well, let's try
You'll Never Walk Alone.
It is You'll Never Walk Alone. Well done. Right, fingers on buzzers. Now start the question. Boxing Day 1978 saw the inaugural send-off of which enduring motor race, which that year started from the Place du Trocadero and required drivers and motorcyclists to cross approximately 10,000 kilometres through...
Southampton Pritchard.
Dakar Rally.
Yes, it is, the Paris-Dakar Rally. Well done. Your bonuses then are 3 questions on the first staging of the Winter Olympic Games, which took place 100 years ago in 1924. Located just north of Mont Blanc, which French town became the first place to host a Winter Olympic Games in 1924?
Chamonix.
Yes, the 1924 Winter Olympics saw the only official staging of military patrol, a precursor to what sport that has been contested at every Winter Olympics since 1960?
Is it the biathlon? Biathlon.
Biathlon.
Yes, William Jackson and Robin Welsh were members of the team that won Great Britain's first ever Winter Olympic gold medal. In what sport was this? At the 2002 and 2022 Games, Team GB Women also won gold in this sport.
Bobsled?
Bobsleigh.
No, it's curling. Let's start the question. Works of 1704 by John Harris, 1708 by John Kersey, and 1730 by Nathan Bailey were forerunners of and sources for what publication of 1755, often casually described as the first of its kind?
Churchill Kelly.
Punch.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The 1755 work differed from its predecessors in listing extensive quotations that gave a context for its explanations and definitions. Anyone have a guess? No, I'll tell you. It's Dr. Johnson's English Dictionary. Let's start the question. In October 2022, Scotland was declared completely snow-free after a remote patch of snow in the Cairngorms, named after which mythological creature melted away for the 4th time in 6 years. In Greek myth, this creature oppressed the city of Thebes, and its riddle was solved by Oedipus.
Churchill Chersky.
The Sphinx.
It is the Sphinx, yes. Your bonuses are on a political scandal. The arrest of Secretary Gunther Guillaume for espionage in 1974 led to the resignation of which politician, the first member of the Social Democratic Party to be elected Chancellor of West Germany?
Nominate McCulloch.
Willy Brandt.
Yes, as both Chancellor and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Brandt had helped to popularise what foreign policy that focused on de-escalation with the communist bloc? I need a single German language term here.
Nominate McCulloch.
Ostpolitik.
Yes, Guillaume had been spying on behalf of which East German secret police agency? Its name is an abbreviation of the German word for state security.
The Stasi.
Yes, now let's start the question. It's a picture round. For your picture starter, you're going to see an image of a Hollywood actor. For 10 points, give me her name.
Churchill McCulloch.
Joan Crawford.
No, you can have a bit more time, Southampton, but you may not confer.
Southampton Greening.
Greta Garbo.
It is Greta Garbo, yes. For your picture starter, you saw an image of Greta Garbo, one of the stars discussed in a pioneering 1974 book by Molly Haskell about the treatment of women in Hollywood cinema. For your bonuses, 3 more stars discussed by Haskell in her book. In each case, I need the name of the actor. First, this star, whom Haskell described as a woman redolent of the demi-monde and smoke-filled cabarets.
No idea.
No idea. Nothing.
No. I really don't know, sorry.
It's Marlene Dietrich. Secondly, this performer, whom Haskell described as flower-like and naive, delicate as a figurine, but durable as an ox.
Yeah, nothing.
It's so tough. Any thoughts at all?
No. Pass.
No, we don't know, sorry.
It's Lillian Gish. And lastly, both of these actors, whom Haskell described as bisected by the Puritan ethic into 2 mutually exclusive extremes of good and evil.
No.
Is one Lauren Bacall, and I really don't know who the other one is, I'm all sorry.
No, that was Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, of course. Let's start the
of course.
question. From the Rumsen language of California via Spanish, what is the common English name of the edible gastropod known in Korea as junbok, in Japan as awabi, and in France as ormeo? It is prized for both its sweet, buttery meat and its distinctive...
Southampton Robinson.
Abalone.
Yes, it is indeed. Your bonuses then are on shorter scientific terms that can be made using the letters of the word graduation. Give each word from the definition. First, a type of biome defined by very low average temperatures, little precipitation, a short growing season, and scarcity of soil nutrients, resulting in minimal vegetation and almost no tree growth.
Sounds like desert.
Tundra.
Tundra.
Nominate Robinson.
Tundra.
Yes. Secondly, a chemical element in group 18 of the periodic table. It is the 3rd most abundant gas in Earth's atmosphere and is colourless, odourless, and totally inert, leading to its use in welding and lighting.
Helium? No.
Third most.
Yeah, third most. I think helium.
Helium.
No.
Oxygen?
No, because oxygen's not inert.
Oh.
Come on.
Argon.
Yes. Finally, a unit of angular measurement equal to approximately 57.3 degrees.
53.7. It's a bit bigger than a right angle.
How many degrees?
Come on.
Have a go.
Degree.
No, it's radian. 3 minutes to go. Now let's start the question. In nuclear fission reactors, moderators such as graphite or heavy water are used to generate the low-energy thermal examples of what subatomic particle? These particles are absorbed and emitted by uranium-235 nuclei in a chain reaction.
Churchill Green.
Neutrons.
Yes, your bonuses, Churchill. 3 questions on films with a common title element. Directed by Robert Eggers and scheduled for a United States release on Christmas Day 2024, what film stars Bill Skarsgård in the role of Count Orlok? It is a remake of an early German film.
Ideas?
God, I've seen the trailer.
Quick, we've got to be quick. Like Nosferatu. Nosferatu.
Nominate Green.
Nosferatu.
Yes, who played the role of Count Orlok in F.W. Murnau's 1922 film Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror? The actor's surname is a German word that aptly translates as fright or shock.
Is that the guy with the long face?
Nominate McCulloch.
Shrek.
Yes, as in Max Schreck. Who directed the 1979 film Nosferatu the Vampire? The film stars Klaus Kinski, who had a notably tempestuous working relationship with the director in question.
I don't know. Pass.
Do you want to have a go?
German director.
Any ideas? Pass.
It's Werner Herzog. Now let's start the question. Which ruler is depicted standing on Oxfordshire in a map of England in a work painted for Sir Henry Lee and known as the Ditchley Portrait?
Churchill McCulloch.
Elizabeth I.
Yes, your bonuses are on rivers of Australia. The confluence of the North and South Esk at Launceston forms the north-flowing Tamar estuary in which Australian state?
Western Australia. Victoria.
Go for Victoria.
Victoria.
No, it's Tasmania. Australia's largest river system is the Murray-Darling. The Murray reaches the Indian Ocean through Lake Alexandrina, a coastal freshwater lake in which state?
Western Australia. Western Australia.
No, it's South Australia. Rivers in which state include the Fitzroy and the Ord in the northern Kimberley region and the Swan in the southern Wheat Belt?
Western Australia.
Yes, it is. Now let's start the question. In Mayan mythology, the underworld of Xibalba is conventionally represented as having how many levels or houses? The Aztec underworld Mictlan has the same number of levels, as does the representation of hell in Dante's Inferno.
Southampton Robinson.
9.
It is 9, yes. Your bonuses are 3 questions on fictional characters with the same given name. The psychologist Dr. Susan Calvin is a main character in a number of short stories by which science fiction writer? She works at US Robots and Mechanical Men, Inc. as their chief robo-psychologist?
Yeah.
Isaac Asimov.
Yes. Susan Henchard is a character in which of Thomas Hardy's novels? She's the wife of the title character, and the novel begins with him auctioning her and their daughter off to a passing sailor while in a drunken temper.
No idea.
Any ideas?
Nothing.
Test the D'Urbervilles.
No, it's the Mayor of Casterbridge. Written around 1794. And at the bottom, Southampton have 125 and Churchill Cambridge have 150. You know for a fact, Southampton, I'm afraid that we're not going to see you again. I'm so sorry, but it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. Churchill, we don't know if we're going to see you again. If you'd only known that it was 9 for that Dante's Inferno starter at the end, which I think, Dermot, you did, but if you'd been a fraction quicker, we'd have definitely seen you. But who knows, we may well see you and your lovely Churchill tie again. It's been a pleasure seeing you for now, at least. I hope you could join us next time for another match in this Christmas series. But until then, it is goodbye from Southampton.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
It's goodbye from Churchill College, Cambridge.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.